These are ruthless entrepreneurs who are skilled in pulling emotional strings the way a puppeteer pulls on a marionette. Consider this like if a new breed of panhandlers learned how to wear the skin of your dead grandparent who you regret not visiting more when they were alive. So the Liver King came out, he gave his choreographed damage control, and I'm going to respond to that. The apology was very artfully done, but also there are a ton of huge red flags in it that tell you he still is who he was, and all the assertions about his role as a salesman and a grifter and a charlatan, they're just as valid as they ever were. But there's some interesting implications about what this means for his future, if he's going away or not. So let's get into his apology.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize because I fucked up, because I'm embarrassed and ashamed, because I lied, and I misled a lot of people.
I like that acting. I mean, this is acting. He's in character right now, and he's not a great actor. He's a good speaker. He's a good salesman, but he's not a good actor. So when he's trying to put that inflection, that emphasis, I mean, he even starts with primals. He has to start with that big demonstration to get his fan base riled up. But then when he's like, I fucked up, he looks like a kid who's trying to pretend to be sorry because he has to go on the family trip, but isn't really sorry. Like, it's hard to watch.
I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous, and after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure in the public eye.
And this is where the apology falls apart, because he's trying to position himself as a sympathetic character and to say, well, I didn't anticipate things would go like this. I'm a victim of circumstance. I was overwhelmed with being in the spotlight and I didn't know what to do. The emails that were leaked had his plan to get to 1 million subs in a year. It was intentional. This was calculated. Everything about the podcast run, the interviews, all the exposure he got was absolutely deliberate. So this is a 100% bold-faced lie. And it's unfortunate because the sheen of this apology, I think, is going to do what it's supposed to do. I think it's going to work on people.
Yes, I've done steroids. And yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician.
Oh, so it's monitored and managed by a clinician. Okay, that's the thing we're really hung up on. As long as a clinician is monitoring it. By the way, the amount of shit that he was taking, you have to have enough money to throw around to find like an unscrupulous doctor who will sign off on you running 10 IUs of growth hormone. Like Michael Jackson found somebody to keep pumping him full of fentanyl. Like you can find people to do things that aren't safe or healthy or ethical. And when you're a guy pulling down 100 million a year, you can find those people.
Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life. Our young men are hurting the most, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets, so our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight.
And not only is he still in character, in his apology, he's still selling. This is like such a slippery, like it's obvious to his critics, but to everybody else, like I said, I think it's going to do exactly what it's meant to. This is such a slippery way to position yourself as a person who really has the best of intentions. Don't, look at me taking gear. That's nothing. Look at all these people who kill themselves. By the way, people buying liver supplements is not the ticket to people not killing themselves. This is actually something I take huge issue with the representation thing in general, because people with something to sell or with an incentive to try to represent a population will position themselves like they're the thing standing between this group being represented and not. They say it with like Rob Kearney, where he insists that he's keeping kids from killing themselves because they see a gay strongman. There are a lot of people out there flying that flag. Like if those people didn't have you to look at, they would have somebody else. Like it's not like there's a hole missing if you don't have the gay strongman. Like representation is good. I understand where it's necessary, but don't overrepresent yourself as an individual that you are somehow the cornerstone where that representation hinges on. The Liver King isn't responsible for 4,000 people a day not killing themselves. Telling people to go out, exercise, get sunlight, and so on, those are generally good recommendations. But what made him popular was the insistence that eating raw meat and taking these like liver supplements and doing this really wacky shit, that's actually what set him apart, and that's what his brand was based on. So I don't buy any of this shit. It still is what it was yesterday. He needs the wild gimmicky shit to get attention to be the exact same thing as what's going to solve your problems, because that's the only way the business model fits. So he's still trying to smash his ancestral tenets and sell it to you in the middle of his apology. It's bananas.
When I talk about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. Still, I have to absolutely crush myself to do so, and I'm wrecked physically and cognitively, and hormone replacement has helped in a profound and significant way.
I don't think that was a good avenue to go down for the Liver King right there. He's basically saying the reason I do all this is because I'm part of that population. So that's part of business. It's let me find your pain point and identify with you. I was just like you. Like, that's 101. That's what you find in all like marketing handbooks. Find the pain point, identify with them. So he's saying I'm part of that group. So that furthers the sales pitch. It also establishes him as a victim or a sympathetic character. But the conclusion of that is that the reason he does everything he does is because he's depressed, he's insecure. He has to do these workouts to feel okay. Even the way he phrased it, you can't really give the charitable interpretation, which is his lifestyle is how he's happy and healthy and functional and okay. It's worded like this is something he has to do because he's so deeply broken inside. It doesn't make his brand look very good. And the thing is, you don't make those mistakes when you have a very concrete principle that's driving everything you do and say. You make those mistakes when there's two stories you're trying to juggle and you're trying to get them to line up. So that's the sales tactic, and that's what's strategically necessary to come clean about the shit you were lying about. So when you try to smash them together, you get these plot holes. That's a pretty big plot hole. Most reactions to the Liver King coming clean are, yeah, we know, and that's missing the point. To reach 1 million people, you have to transcend the niche group of educated lifters that you might identify with. The overwhelming majority of the Liver King's audience aren't equipped to know what it means for someone to likely be on steroids, or if being rich, jacked, and happy is actually a byproduct of sun gazing and eating raw animal organs. The point is not that he's on gear. I don't even think the point is that he lied about being on gear. The point is that we now live in a time where these fabricated cartoon mascots for corporate brands can break through the screen you're watching them on, and they can build an intimate relationship with you in your real life. You can follow their day-to-day activities, be moved by their highs and lows, and you can even reach out and communicate with them directly. The point is that the most vulnerable consumers, those looking for genuine education and guidance, can be plucked off by this new race of imposters. These are ruthless entrepreneurs who are skilled in pulling emotional strings the way a puppeteer pulls on a marionette. Consider this like if a new breed of panhandlers learned how to wear the skin of your dead grandparent who you regret not visiting more when they were alive. It's like if every character at Disneyland was begging your 6-year-old for change. If Mickey, Donald, and Goofy were constantly asking your kid for a quarter. The point is that our relationship with the companies we buy from is creeping into gross, dysfunctional codependency where the line between what's real and the stories we want to believe is blurred. Remember, these are corporate admin and hucksters, the same types who run timeshare seminars or who provide spin for political campaigns. And they now have an entirely new platform where they can target with sniper-like precision the emotional weak points of their intended audience. To gain that attention, do wild, unnecessary shit. If you're willing to debase yourself, people will watch by the million. To gain their trust, find the pain point and tell them, I was once like you, I had your problems. To build a multi-million-dollar empire, tell them your wild, unnecessary shit is how you fix that problem. The ease with which Liver King cracked into his $100 million a year business tells us this platform is still unsaturated, and that means it can get a lot worse from here. I see this being the norm in the years to come if we aren't careful. Now, the fact is that sales will continue as long as humans have needs and problems that have to be solved, and there isn't any policy that can curb dishonest sales without being oppressive to everybody else with something to say. It's the same conundrum we find ourselves in when trying to reconcile the desire to limit hate speech with the necessity of free speech. My solution to this is the same solution to that. Assume the worst from the people out there, raise the bar for who you decide to lend your ear to, and insulate yourself from the shitstorm of sales that exists out in the ether. Fact is, Liver King has a massive following, and just judging by the comments in YouTube videos and on Instagram posts, I don't think his brand loyalty is going anywhere. I think the people that like Liver King still like Liver King, and the fact that he came in with this very strategic, very artfully done apology. I think the guy is a shrewd enough businessman. He knows how to do damage control. So this is like the politician who got caught sending dick pics to his nanny. Like, yeah, it looks like the guy's done, but they know what everybody's attention span is. They know how long it takes for something like this to roll over. So yeah, I honestly don't think he's going anywhere. But the fact that he did get caught up on his bullshit, I think is a huge win. And I think it just reinforces the fact that it's not so much that we have to expect that these people are going to go away or that they shouldn't exist at all. It's that we have to be vigilant in making sure that the truth comes to light, that people aren't allowed to get away with this gimmicky bullshit or to fabricate entire stories, change reality in order to try and convince you that what they're selling you is legit and that you need it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave your questions and comments below. Check me out on Patreon to get daily uploads of my workouts with commentary so you can see me take all of these principles and apply them in real time. Thanks so much for your support. Until next time, this is Bromley. I'll see you.